Hello, I'm Paul Rosen, and this is the Rosen Report. And today on the Rosen Report, we have one of my favorites, Greg Westlake, captain of the Canadian Sledge hockey team. Welcome, Greg.
Thanks for having me, Paul.
No problem. Now, Greg was born on June 12, 1986, in Vancouver, British Columbia. He is the youngest of 4 children, great sisters, and an incredible brother, Scotty. Good guy. He made the Canadian team in 2003, and he became the captain after the games in Vancouver in 2010. Greg, it is an absolute honor to have you on the Rosen Report.
I'm so pumped to be here. Ask me anything.
I will.
Perfect.
Absolutely. So, Greg, as a lot of people know with me, I lost my leg at 39. Can you tell the folks what happened to you?
Yeah, I mean, I missed the memo on wearing the shorts, but I'm missing both of my feet. I have 2 artificial legs. That's how I get around on a day-to-day basis. For me, I was just born with some complications at birth and led to the amputation of both my feet. Very fortunate that it happened at birth, because I think sometimes when it happens later in life, and you'd be able to talk a bit about it, but I think you're so used to being able-bodied that it was such a shock for you. Whereas for me, it's the only way I knew how to walk. I learned to skate when I was 3 on 2 artificial legs. It's all I've ever known. So for me, it's I've never really viewed it as a big deal. But yeah, that's why it got me into sledge hockey, really.
So tell everybody, you played able-body hockey. I know that. People out in Cyberland don't know that. But you went from being a really good goaltender in able-body hockey to trying out for the Canadian sled hockey team. Tell us what happened there and how you felt as a teenager.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was just about playing at the highest level. I sit down and I think at some point you got to have some tough decisions in your life. And for me, sports was such a big part that I sat down with both my parents and just said, I'm obviously getting to an age and a point in my stand-up hockey career where I'm not going to be able to play in the NHL. I'm not going to be able to take this any further than what I had already done. And so my mom and dad told me, if the most important thing for you is winning a gold medal for Team Canada or playing at the highest level, there's definitely a sport out there for you. We just got to find it. So, I got out there and I tried everything. I tried wheelchair basketball. I tried some track and field, but ultimately, you got to go with what you love, and for me, that was hockey. So once I found sledge hockey, it was a complete game changer for me. I got in a sled one time, and I was completely sold on it. All I wanted to do was be a member of the Canadian national team after that.
And you have had an incredible career so far. Now, one thing people would not know is when Greg made the team at 17 years old, Greg was a goaltender, and the 2 of us were goaltenders, roommates and goaltenders in the 2005 season. And I'm going to be really honest with everybody out there. In the 2000, a lot of teammates, they'll be at ease here finding out finally that I'm going to come true on this. So in 2005, we had a talk, and I convinced Greg to become a forward, to try out for forward and leave the goaltending to me. Now, we ended up winning a gold medal in Torino. A year later, Greg was on the #1 line in the world, himself, Billy Bridges, and Brad Bowden. They dominated the game. I knew in my heart that he was going to be one of the best players in the world, if not the best player I've ever played with. And I'm not just saying that. He knows it's true. But I did that for selfish reasons. He was going to take my spot very, very soon as the #1 goalie, and I knew I couldn't play out. So just tell us that transition from 2005 and kind of the jealousy that happened with a couple of guys on the team.
Yeah, well, it's guys' livelihood, and athletes are proud people. So I think when I made the transition to go from being a goalie to a forward, there was definitely some guys who could see themselves losing their job flat out. And so I got a few phone calls from some of the older guys on the team basically saying like, hey, this is a bad decision for you, don't do it. But it was always in the pipeline for me. I always wanted to hit people. I wanted to score goals. I wanted to be more active. And, I think that it takes a little more energy to be a forward than a goalie. And I have that energy, no disrespect.
No disrespect.
So some of us, like training and like going to the gym and like that high performance aspect.
What are you saying, Greg?
And, I'm just saying forwards, defensemen, they live that high performance lifestyle. Okay. And but anyways, no, I definitely had some guys call me out and say, hey, don't do this. But I knew that you'd be a rock down there. And I think what I felt good about was I always wanted to be a forward, but I always knew that you were a big game goalie. And we're always going to be in semifinals and final games. Like, we're going to get to those points in tournaments. So ultimately for me, I knew that you'd be good when we needed you. And I could contribute to a win, because ultimately it's fun to have fun and make jokes. But for us, I know the bottom line is just always winning gold medals.
Yeah. And 2006 in Torino was 10 years ago, is something I know I will never forget, no matter whether I get a chance to call a game with you as a captain winning a gold medal in the next Paralympics in Korea in 2018, which would be an absolute honor for me. But there's something that we have that I don't think can ever be taken away, is in 2006, we won the first ever gold medal for Canada in sled hockey. And just for it to come true, which I knew it would, for you to become that player and that person I knew you could be on the ice, and now be a captain of the Canadian team for the last 6 years, I might add. In Sochi was your first Paralympic Games, but in a few World Championships. Just talk about the amount of just pride it is to have that C on your sweater for Canada.
Yeah, it's obviously, it's fun. It's a tremendous honor. It's not something that you grow up as a kid thinking, I want to be the captain of Team Canada. You grow up thinking, I want to make the team. And so really it takes you by shock, it takes you by surprise. But yeah, it has been a tremendous honor, but for me, it's not something that I'll truly enjoy unless I can win the big one. If we can't get it done in Korea in 2018, but I have all the faith in the world that we will get it done. Not saying that it will mean less, but I won't enjoy it as much. So we need to win the big one, and then we'll move on.
I was on with Tim Hudak, one of the shows that we did, and Tim had a bet with me. I don't know if you what you think of this bet,
okay.
But he bet that the Buffalo Bills would win the Super Bowl before the Leafs won the Stanley Cup. I took the Leafs, and he took the Bills.
I want to disagree with you, but you know what? There's so much turnover in football, so they could get better quickly. But no, I'm taking the Leafs on that one.
I took the Leafs. He took the Bills.
Yeah. Well, he can buy us both a coffee then.
Yeah. So some incredible things over your career. We could talk for absolutely hours, but you just turned 30 years old, and to be a little serious for a second. Greg is 2 months younger than my son, and I had an opportunity to be a part of the team and travel the world with Greg Westlake, and I have the utmost respect for the man that you have become. At 30 years old, Greg, you are an entrepreneur, you play for Canada, you've done a million things that somebody in the 60s would strive to do. If you could talk to a 15-year-old Greg Westlake right now, what would you say to him?
You know what? I would tell myself just to dive into it earlier. Just commit yourself all the way. And what I found in my life is I don't work well when I'm halfway in. When I first started playing sledge hockey, I liked the sport, but I was uncomfortable being in the change room with guys who are missing legs, who might have been using a wheelchair, and that was just such a new world for me, coming from an able-bodied sports background. And I wish I could go back, and I wish I got into it when I was 8 or 9. And I would just tell myself, somebody might look visually different, but that guy could be a tremendous athlete. And so for me, I would just go back and tell myself, jump into it earlier. Don't go in halfway. Become that elite level athlete. Eat clean at 16. Your friends might be going out partying on a weekend. You can miss that. So it's all those little things that I think add up to big success. And I wish I learned some of that a bit earlier in life. But it's always good to get there eventually.
This is Paul Rosen for the Rosen Report, and we'll be back after these messages.
The National Benefit Authority helps people with disabilities receive the disability tax credit from the Canadian government. We navigate all obstacles with you to determine your eligibility and position you best for a successful 10-year retroactive claim, and receive up to $20,000 for an adult and $50,000 for a child.
The National Benefit Authority went back 10 years and got me money I didn't even know was mine.
Get the money you deserve. Call us at 1-855-456-6688.
And we're back on the Rosen Report. Paul Rosen here with my guest, Greg Westlake, captain of the Canadian Sledge hockey team, powered by the National Benefit Authority. Now, Greg, we've been talking about all kinds of different things. I have to go back to one story. It was almost the end of my career. I think it was a 2009 season. We were at Rexall Place in Edmonton, which is going to be the way of the dodo bird. It's going to be gone. I think Rogers Centre is opening the opening of 2017 season. So we were in Rexall Place, 2009, yourself, a couple of other players, myself. We finished everything, and the Hockey Canada guys wanted to do a PSA, last little thing, and they asked Greg Westlake to take a shot at me. I was terrified. I don't get terrified very often. I'm 6 feet, 230, don't get terrified often. This gentleman here, take it away.
Well, I know where this is going, and I think the backstory, though, is that every practice, every time I get on the ice with you, I would take the very first shot I shot on Paul right at his head. And I would do that just to open up space for me in practice so that the rest of the time I came down, I'd hope to make the goalie flinch a little bit, and then I could score more goals. I know it's just practice, but I try hard in everything I do. And so they wanted me to show off a slap shot, because everybody in sledge hockey always wants to know, well, how fast can you shoot? How hard can you shoot? So the director lined up a puck about 10 feet away from Paul, which is way too close to be letting one go. And in my head, I'm just like, man, Paul thinks I'm going to hit him in the head here. So I don't care. I don't have to get hit by the puck. So I told the director, line up 40 pucks, line up 140 pucks. Don't care. I'll shoot at Paul all day. So what happened next?
You came in,
yeah,
and you took the shot, and I lifted my shoulders thinking, it was going to catch me high, shoulder, head, whatever. No chance to react. There was no way. If I made the save, I'd be lying to you that I saw it, because I could not react until it hit me. And it hit me right in the family jewels. And I have never been hit that hard in that spot in my life. I rolled on the ground.
And if you just didn't lift up, you would have been fine, I think.
Yeah, great. And that's the easiest thing to do, is to tell a goalie when somebody's coming in full steam from 10 feet out, taking a cannon shot, don't lift up. Fantastic. Great advice.
So basically the breakdown of blame here, 10% my fault, about 90% Paul's fault.
Yeah, I'm going to disagree with that, but I'm not going to put blame. The one I'm going to blame is the director who said to do it when I knew he was going to hurt me.
People in the world who knows you, the world of Paul.
Yes.
The reason you mess with Paul is because he gives a reaction. You don't mess with guys who don't react. So if you would just calm, maybe you should work on some breathing techniques in your retirement. Some woosah. But anyways, if Paul never gave reactions, we wouldn't mess with him so much, but it was too fun watching him lose his cool. But the best part is, as he's crawling around, withering in pain, the director and the producers are replaying just this puck hitting Paul in the groin area over on a loop on the Jumbotron at Rexall Place. And so everybody's just standing around while Paul's lying on the ground in pain, just watching it over and over.
And nobody cared about me. Not one person came to me. Nobody was like, are you in serious trouble? Should we go to the hospital? Nobody cared.
But what people don't know is the week before that, we were on the phone. We talked about once a week when we were teammates. And Paul was actually just telling me the week before we did that photo shoot how he's done. He doesn't want any more kids. He's just, three's enough. He couldn't see himself. He's ready for grandkids at that point in his life. So I said, Paul, let me step in here. I got this.
You're full of shit. But that's all right. We're okay with that. Greg, we've come to my favorite part of the Rosen Report, rapid fire. The Rosen Report, powered by the National Benefit Authority. This is Rapid Fire with Greg Westlake. Greg, favorite movie?
Last of the Mohicans.
Wow, blew me away on that one.
I like epics, battle scenes, drama.
All right. We live in a free country. You can say whatever you want.
Thanks.
Favorite restaurant?
Ooh, great question. I don't eat out much. I go to the Longos in my building all the time. I like making my own meals, so the salad bar at Longos right now.
Excellent. Name of your first pet?
Bogey.
Bogey, what's up, Bogey? First car.
My first car was a Jeep TJ Sport that I sunk in many puddles, off-roaded when I shouldn't have, and had a lot of fun with.
Beauty, beauty. Favorite band?
Ooh. Currently, I'm a big alternative. I like Gaslight Anthem, some stuff like that all time. Boy, I don't know. I'm with you, though. I liked cranking the Aerosmith with you back in the day.
There you go.
That
Back
was
in
a
the
lot of
dressing
fun.
room.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Favorite country?
To visit? Well, I mean, Canada's beautiful.
Yeah, outside of Canada.
Outside of
Obviously,
Canada,
we are both proud Canadians.
You know, but people always ask me what my favorite country is, and I always say people don't realize until you've been coast to coast in Canada just how beautiful it is.
Oh my God, yeah.
But outside of that, I've had really good experiences in Sweden and South Korea as well.
Okay.
So, big fan of those two.
Favorite city?
What's so funny there?
Nothing at all.
Rapid fire for you. What was funny about that answer?
Favorite city, because I roomed with you before. Favorite city?
Favorite city, Stockholm, Sweden, or Seoul, South Korea.
Really?
Yeah, we got to keep it consistent here.
Nowhere in Norway?
No. Big fan of Oslo, though.
Okay.
The skiing's fantastic.
Okay. Favorite food?
Favorite food? I'm a sushi and steak guy. If I can do like a sushi appetizer and just a big steak dinner, maybe a little glass of red wine on the side, we'll call that a day.
See, I'm going to go for the steak and the sushi, but I'll have a shot of Jack Daniels.
And I don't want to see you after that shot of Jack.
Favorite sport?
Yeah, I'm a hockey guy through and through. Big MMA fan, like UFC, all that stuff. I trained a bit. I did jiu-jitsu when I was a kid, kickbox. So in terms of just when you don't want to think hockey in the off season, I throw on a good fight.
So if you kickbox somebody with those artificial legs,
It's hard.
that would not be good.
Well, and when I was a kid, we did a take your friend to jiu-jitsu class.
Yep.
And so I brought I don't know why I did it, but I had this one friend who was smaller than everyone. I brought him with me, and so we're doing some moves, and I go to throw my leg around. I hit him right in the face with my artificial leg and chipped 2 of his front 2 teeth. So if Justin is ever watching this, I'm sorry for knocking out your teeth at jiu-jitsu class.
Yeah, he would never do that now. Not with his foot anyways.
I do it intentionally now.
Yeah. Okay, Greg, last question, rapid fire. If you could change one thing in this world, what would it be?
Good question. For me, I think I'd like to see a lot more just tolerance. And it almost goes back to, what I would tell my 16-year-old self. Nowadays, everybody seems to be dealing with somebody, whether it's mental, physical. And I'd just like to see the day where, gay, straight, disabled, able-bodied, all that just is secondary to who you are as a person. And I guess if I could change one thing, I just think everybody would be a lot more happy day to day if, they could just live in their own skin.
Perfect. Couldn't have said that better. Greg Westlake.
My brother.
One of my favorites. Might be 30 years old in his physical body, but I'm telling you, this guy is mature, way past his years. It's been Paul Rosen, the Rosen Report, sponsored by the National Benefit Authority. Thanks for watching. Talk to you soon.